This interview is with the artist formerly known as Jazz Hands, and the audio quality isn't the finest because the situation wasn't expected. It'll never be in this state again. Much like Senor Jazz Hands, he has long since returned to the deep, dank chambers of Mount Loudmore.
Everything you were about to see is outside the statute of limitations. All the bleeps are creative license. This is probably going to be some Pulp Fiction shit. Out of context, I'll probably just cut. Fuck you. Are there any, fucked up stories you could think to tell?
I got a couple acid trip stories.
Great. Lysergic acid diethylamide 25. Quality.
That good shit. Well, I mean, shit, you were there for my first trip.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Remember that?
Well, I was probably there for it, but I don't recall it being your first trip.
That was that night that, I don't want to mention your names, but...
You can mention names, I get bleeped.
Okay. Remember when you got, it was there.
Oh, dude, and you were on the phone just pissed at him.
Dude, I was like, what the fuck? Are you kidding me?
What the fuck was, what was happening? I don't remember.
Well, fucking, was driving. He hit some dude on a bike, I think.
Oh my fucking god. Yeah, they hit a dude on a motorcycle.
Yeah,
dude.
Underage.
God, was he over 18?
No, he wasn't.
Oh, good. Well, lucky him.
Yeah.
He should be the guy. Did he take the lump and claim to have it be his alcohol? Or was it found?
Claimed it. So somebody else claimed it. Took the fault for hitting the motorcycles.
Was he sober at least?
I think so.
As far as anyone knows, I take the fifth.
But Jesus Christ, I remember getting that call, and that was just dumb as fuck. But anyway, yeah, that was that one. That was my first one. Of course, after that, I hadn't really touched it, for probably a couple of years, but then I got arrested.
And you took it in prison.
Yeah, good idea. I actually read a Reddit post about somebody who actually managed to get it in prison and took it.
Well, yeah, well, and it's such a small thing that you can sneak it in fairly discreetly. What was the next trip experience?
So...
Memorable?
Well, I hadn't touched it for quite a few years until, I got arrested because when I got arrested, it was smoke. So I was
you got arrested because you can't have a plant. You don't own your own body. Don't forget that.
Exactly.
Daddy government.
Exactly.
You can eat poison ivy. You could smoke it.
Yeah. So I couldn't smoke. I was showing my purpose.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the beautiful thing. Dude, that's why I tripped so much senior year. Because my parents were fucking drug testing me. And hey, I mean...
Yeah.
It was an option. You can get away with it.
But, shit. We had kind of fucked with it on and off.
Yeah.
For that year, that would have been 2016, so, it was, right at the beginning of summer when all my shit went down. And then, this summer we started, getting some acid, and it was kind of,
Yeah.
We had some okay trips, but it was weak.
Well, and what sucks, too, is you never know how much is on that tab.
Exactly.
Because that's why people were losing their mind in the 60s, because there's way too fucking much. And at this point, you just can't tell what the fuck's on it.
Exactly.
Unless you got someone that's actually dealing with numbers.
Right.
Who tells you actual doses?
Exactly, they don't. So you just get what you get.
Yeah, exactly.
You take a risk. You really do.
If you take 4 hits, you just pray.
Well, so, this, like I said, we did a couple that were, not bad, but, not, super crazy and awesome like we wanted.
Yeah.
So, we were going to do it this one night. This was in November. We finally got a good, some good quality shit.
Yeah.
And, of course, me...
Yeah.
We were all going to do it together. And,
shout out to the space.
Yeah, well, we were... This part's kind of sucks, but we were all sitting down at dinner at his house, and we were going to eat dinner, go downstairs, have a good time.
Yeah.
And then we got a call, and her accident.
Died. Fuck.
So that really kind of killed the
Put a
night.
damper on the night.
So,
Yeah.
well, had dated her. And yeah, he did not trip with us that night. We ended up postponing until
like
until later that night. Me and Steven. But this was actually we went over to after dinner and all that. You know, hung out there for a little while. We wanted to be there for him, and then took his ass at his apartment. I think took 2 at his apartment.
Yeah.
And we hung out there for a while, and then, so we were going to go back to his house. He was going to come with us because his car was over here, and we were all still planning on hanging out. And we brought our asses with us. So me and I put our tabs in, and then drove from to here. Now, of course, it takes
45 minutes to an hour.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which that's what we were thinking. I took 3 right off the bat.
Yeah.
And then well, I actually had to drive. Oh, that's right. I had to drive Jake's car. Well, he was borrowing his parents' Taurus, which was like blowing coolant everywhere. So
Yeah.
also dead of winter, fucking like negative degrees outside,
Yeah.
windy as fuck. So he's riding with me. This car has no heat.
Yeah.
So we're driving. We get about halfway there, and it's
Feeling it now, Mr. Krabs.
Well, I wasn't feeling it until we went outside, but we had to pull over to put more coolant in it. And he was holding the light for me, and he's like, all right, man, it's too cold. And then he went and got his car and left me. It was already,
He was there.
he was already probably an hour and a half in.
Yeah.
So-
he was ahead.
And he was like, yeah, no. And I was like, God damn it, you gotta be kidding me. So I got it filled, got back in the car. Mind you, now I'm alone in the car. And, I have
With your thoughts.
I have a pending acid trip coming up. And we're driving, and we get past the hills,
Yeah.
and we're on that straight, and now I'm feeling it. Like, holy fuck, like, I'm starting to realize that I shouldn't be driving.
Like how many minutes from home base?
Yeah, I knew exactly where I was. I was like, okay, we're almost there. So we got it there, and we were like, all right, we made it. I'm like, I'm really starting to feel it now. We go inside. His mom's still up.
Oh, yeah.
So she is, we walk in. Of course, his mom is amazing.
Yeah.
Loves us. I don't think she noticed that we were,
You're just weird.
But we walked in. I remember she was like, giving us all kinds of snacks and shit. Oh, you guys want this? You guys hungry? You thirsty? Giving us all the stuff we need to hang out for the night. And she finishes talking to me, and then she walks, away. And I look at and I'm like, dude, I'm really, really hitting it hard now.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh yeah. And then we went downstairs and I took him home.
So 3 + 1 at this point.
Yeah, so 4 deep. We went downstairs and we watched. I think we started with a movie. I can't remember what it was. Of course, you know how that is.
Yeah.
But I remember we ended up watching later Dog Eat Dog.
I've never seen that shit.
It's got Nick Cage, Willem Dafoe, and some other guy. It's pretty ridiculous, but it was really weird to watch tripping. But I enjoyed it. It's the themes and scenery in this movie change constantly.
Oh, yeah.
It really fucks with me.
Have you seen Holy Mountain?
No.
Watch that tripping sometime. It's like a 70s art film that was funded by one of the Beatles.
Yeah.
It's unreal.
Sign me up. Now, we did that. I remember at one point, I forget what we were doing. Or you know what? He was sitting on the couch. He was taking a drink. And I was just like, what are you drinking? And he's like,
pussy nectar.
And at this point, I lost my shit. Like, started crying.
Sides in orbit.
Dude, like, I had to leave the room. I was laughing so hard. And I came back in and immediately started fucking laughing and crying. Because I was just, like, I couldn't get over it. It was the funniest.
The aura of the room was hilarious.
Oh my God. It was insane. I could not stop laughing.
God.
But, and then, okay, so, mind you, still, you know, dead of winter.
Oh, yeah.
And cold as fuck outside. Of course, you know, when you are in a trip, pretty deep in a trip, you know how you get sweats, your blood pressure starts hiking up.
You're amidst a trip, you gotta get out of here.
You get really warm and shit, so we were like, alright, let's go outside. Clear night. Full moon, too. Okay, so we bundled
You were
up.
feeling it. It was talking at you.
This was like probably 2 or 3 in the morning at this point.
Yeah.
And we, you know, bundled up, you know, put our coats on and shit, and went sat on the front porch for probably, I don't know, half hour, 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Just, you know, watching the sky. I couldn't even describe it to you.
Yeah.
It was insane. It was amazing and beautiful.
Yeah.
But one thing I do remember that I thought was really cool was just watching the traffic go by, because they would go by in slow motion.
Well, yeah, and it would trace a little bit, too.
Yeah, dude, the tracers were cool.
Yeah.
So fucking cool.
Fuck.
It'd be really cool when, like there was this diesel truck that went by, and it just sounded so, you know, that fucking rumble.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you know, how sounds and shit has
Oh,
that effect
and there's
on you.
that, like, slight reverb to it, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, that's weird.
Yeah.
That throws me off.
In describing psychedelics to people that haven't taken them, it's just
Borderline impossible.
Yeah, exactly. Like, a fucking great case in point was the time where we were tripping together, and you said, like, I asked you what time it was, you checked and you said it. I'm like, did you see that? And you said, yeah, and it was, like, there was, like, a visual aspect to it, too, and I'm like, how did it feel? Like, how did the word seem when you saw it? And you're like, juicy. And that also came out, and I'm like, we're in bad waters, boys. Shit's murky. God. Juicy. Yeah. And, like, I don't know about you, but I don't really get thought loops or anything like that when I trip. Like, and most of the time when I took it, like, it would be in high school, and instead of sleeping one night of the school week, I would just pop a tab, lay in my bed, stare at the back of my eyelids, converse with the cosmos, and go to school the next day and try to be human. Like,
Dude,
yeah. And
that's wild.
there was a night where, like, a home ec teacher who was an absolute fucking sweetheart, she looked at me, and I guess I looked strung out, or like I had a bad home life. She's like, are you okay? I'm like, I had a hard night. And she didn't know that I tripped fucking balls. She just gave me a hug and I went about my day.
Oh, that's gold.
Yeah. God. One of the most beautiful things about high school is the fact that you don't have responsibilities. You can get away with that shit, you know? People tell teenagers not to do drugs, and obviously you should be safe. But, like, there's nothing at risk. You know, the most dangerous thing about psychedelics and weed is the jail time. You know, just keep your shit together, have a good time. You know, and fuck, there was somebody that would show up to school like half a tab in, pop another one at lunch.
Was it?
It was Slick Willie. Yeah, dude. Okay, so I had DMT the last time I saw him. It was a New Year's Eve party. That was the 31st. And I felt like I needed to take this to a party for no fucking reason. You know, I go up into the attic, you know, I rip a bong, I'm hanging out with everybody, fraternizing. He comes up the top of the stairs. I made eye contact with him, and I just instantly knew, I have something for you. I pull out the little aluminum foil sheet, and he's like, is this fucking Coke? And I'm like, pleb. DMT. He's like, one of those, oh, God, fucking, yeah. And it was weird, too, because it's like, hey, well, it's like it was talking to me in a way. It's like, hey, you should take me to this party. And it just had to find its next host. You ever have dreams in the future or anything like that?
You know, honestly, don't know when this really started, but I really don't have dreams that often.
Yeah.
I used to have dreams, pretty frequently.
Yeah.
But, I don't really know when they kind of stopped.
It's like fast traveling, kind of,
Yeah.
instead of dreams and
I'll
shit.
have one here and there, but I can't remember it,
Yeah. Well, and I know that when I smoke, like, think about, like, your dream juice, it suppresses that and it builds up. And then if I don't smoke for, like, a week, my dreams go into fucking overdrive.
That's probably what it is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's fucking strange.
Yeah.
I had a dream last night, like, I don't remember a lot of it, but just the end of it, like, so it was almost like a video game. There was like a square section of ocean that I had access to. I was in a normal ocean, but I could I could only swim in like this square tunnel down, and I would get to the bottom, and then it would be like, like a bunch of checkered, it was like a disco floor almost, and there was the occasional one that would like kill me, and I would like teleport back and have to do it again, and I had to like dance through this fucking shit, and it didn't make any sense whatsoever, and the whole time I was drowning. Like, it's like, brain, why are you doing this? I thought this is supposed to be restful. I like snapped awake at fucking attention, like just out of the fucking blue half an hour before my alarm clock went off. Yeah, exactly. And my body's like, hey, you died too many times, no more lives, get out there.
You don't get to sleep anymore.
You're not allowed. You're grounded. Don't sleep for a week.
So, weird thing about that same acid trip I was talking about.
Yeah.
I don't know why this happened, but probably about halfway through, my left hand, I started losing feeling up through these fingers and kind of down through here.
So like your pinky ring and down through your wrist?
And I would have to constantly like flick my fingers to regain feeling. So like this was bugging me. Like really bad, almost took the trip south.
Yeah.
Like it kind of did that thought loop thing. Like I just couldn't stop thinking about it.
Yeah, you couldn't stop focusing on it. Yeah, it wasn't one of those things. The weird thing
most
is,
of the time it's because you're focusing on it.
Exactly. It just keeps rekindling that fire. It's like your attention fuels it.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the feeling like? Was it like just like your nerves feeling electricity?
Yeah, something like that. And I wasn't liking it.
No bueno.
And every time after that, I was afraid it would happen again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fucking weird.
It was really weird. The worst, when it got to its worst point during that trip, like, I was basically just, I tried, like, laying down in his bed, just try to, ride it, and just kind of be cool and just kind of not pay attention to it. But I just remember, like, I was staring at the ceiling, like, couldn't stop, like, moving my head, like, just fucking with this, and I was just losing my mind.
Yeah.
But it eventually kind of wore off, and it stayed, like, with me a couple days after that.
Yeah.
But it eventually went away, and it wasn't a big deal. And it really never, it didn't come back any trip after that, but there were times during a trip where I thought it was.
It was like a ghost feeling, like that kind of thing.
I knew, this is where it happened. But, it would kind of do it for a second and then go away.
Yeah, it's like a middle finger in the back of your skull. It's like, you remember this, buddy? Go back into that loop.
You want to go again?
Come at me, bro. Buckle up, cowboy. Fuck.
But I lost count how many trips we did. We went a little overboard, especially me. I started doing them on, like, I did a couple on work nights. And then went to work the next day.
Fuck. Yeah.
Not a good idea.
Well, were you still functional? Because for me, like, the next day, it's like I slept completely. There's, like, the afterglow, and that carries me through the day, and I sleep like a baby the day after.
The afterglow was, I really liked it. Like, working, it was just kind of like, hey, this isn't normal. I'm enjoying this, like,
Reality's wiggling.
Like, nobody knows.
But, I'm among them.
But, throughout the whole day, you definitely feel it on you. You know, fucking worn out. And then, of course, following day, pass the fuck out early as fuck.
Yeah.
Sleep
Bedtime is 8 p.m.
Right.
Yeah, fuck. Dude. So there was a little while where I was microdosing, just because, you know, when you take acid, weird shit happens. Like in your first fucking trip, you get that fucking phone call, and it's like, you cunt, and like, just dealing with bullshit, you know? And like, just weird things happen. And I like, do you know what synchronicities are? It's like shit, just random shit syncing up in the outside world to like your mental thought, like extreme of whatever. And like, I like that happening. So when I was a driver, I would microdose on acid. And dude, like there was a day where I'm like back washing dishes, listening to music, pretending to be human, and my manager comes back and she just starts talking to me about how she was in Catholic school and how her titties started getting too big for her uniform. Yeah, exactly. And she's like, I don't know why I'm telling you this. And my brain was screaming, 'cause I'm on acid, bitch. You don't know it, but there's animal magnetism in this acid. Yeah, but dude, I was fucking married at the time. And God, yeah, I'm just there like thinking I could get my dick sucked and squeeze a titty, but no. Yeah. And oh my God, a previous fucking manager, they would smoke a joint at the same fucking time every single time we closed in the middle of the fucking shift. And they'd be like, hey, can you watch the front? I'm like, doinky time? They're like, doink.
Big old doinks.
Yeah, they just go back to the fucking dumpster, huff a durry, and fucking, and just come back in like nothing fucking happened, you know? I love people that can handle their shit. And that was the same job where we ripped dabs on the job. And there was a chick I worked with that looked kind of like my mom. And there was a day where I was like too high and I was like marveling at this mop and the way the like fucking light was bouncing off it. And I'm just looking there like getting a little teary because reality's fucking majestic. You know, we have this opportunity to be. And this chick that comes back and starts looking like my mom and shit. She's like, hey, can you go up front and take care of stuff? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Just trying to look normal and go do human things. You know? Yeah. Being too high in public is not my drive. I'm not a fan.
It can be a chore sometimes.
Oh yeah,
straight up.
and my tolerance was ass at the time, so I felt everything.
Honestly, that's the best time to smoke, though.
Well, you get the most bang for your buck. But then again, like I kind of missed the time where I had to go down to the police department and pay a ticket, and because I had a like herb vaporizer, you could smoke that, and your breath would smell like roasted peanuts. You wouldn't smell like weed at all. And I fucking downed 3 bong rips before we went down to the police station. I'm like, here's the extortion money, officer. You know? And, you know, I went about my fucking day.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah. Dude, that ticket was actually horse shit, too, because the engine in my car fucking died. And I had to I turn on my hazards, and the only place I could go was in a right turn lane. You know, and I get over there. And, you know, I put it in park and I got the hazards on. I'm sober as a fucking nun, by the way. And, you know, I see some lights behind me, and this is the one situation where I'm like, hell yeah, a cop. They're going to hook me up. Yeah, they're going to sit behind me, have their lights on, make sure I don't get fucking plowed, you know? And she's like, can I see your license and registration? I'm like, sure. And I give it to her, and I'm like, my engine just died. And I'm like, you know, I'm trying to get a tow at this point because I'm on my phone, like, trying to figure some shit out. She's like, okay. And she wound up ticketing me for being in a place where I could not be, even though my car died. You know, the revenue generation is strong in West Lafayette, Indiana. Like it's gross. College towns are gross.
God damn, that's
swimming in piggies.
That's straight up, dude.
Yeah. But I mean, she was helpful. You know, she helped me out. She helped me find a company that was fairly cheap
for my help.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and she wasn't even a sly cop. She didn't just pocket it, you know? She didn't just take a small 50 and go about her day. You know?
She's a pawn of the state.
Officer of the law. I prefer the title Master Extortionist. Thank you, sir. Here's your ticket. No breathing in this zone.
I'll ticket you for that.
You just rip ass? No go. Suck it back up.
Hang tight.
Hang tight. I gotta get my stun gun. Yeah.
You know when they say hang tight, it's going south.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna have to call in some backup. I think I smell your feet.
Could be drugs.
You might have shit tasting loud. I just gotta get my man. Oh, fuck.
Oh, so actually,
Yeah.
I don't know why this made me think of that, but when I got arrested, of course I had, some weed on me. And, the cop, of course, this is all after the fact, search the vehicle, we're riding back to the police station at this point.
And he got nabbed for a fucking tail light. Change your fucking tail lights, headlights. Be aware.
Yep.
Okay, sorry.
But,
You don't exist anymore. Fuck you. Inanimate object? Yeah, I can yell at the fuck. I'm sorry. Yeah. You're going to the station.
he was, we were just talking.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, man, that was some pretty good shit you had there. I was like, verbatim, I don't mess around in Browntown. You a cop.
Did he fucking laugh at least?
He chuckled.
Okay, good. He gave you what he could.
He gave me the chuckle of approval, so.
Yeah. Fuck. Man.
But I can say that was a bad night.
Yeah, exactly. When I feel bad for cops that have a conscience and they're stuck enforcing that kind of thing. Because even to make the police force better, you have to infiltrate it in a way. You have to be a just individual on the sly. And
I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate what you really have to do the right thing in the world anymore.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah. Well, it sucks that the law, it's one of those, some Greek fuck said it, but when the laws are too many to count, basically, you might be creeping towards tyranny.
Yeah.
Boiled down to that, because you don't even know what's illegal, and if someone wants to nab you for something, they can. You just pull out the little book and be like, this. Shoes are untied in a red zone. Yeah. Do you have probable cause to believe my shoes are untied in this car, officer? It's hi, how are you?
Another thing that was bullshit about that.
Yeah.
This is the Indiana thing.
Yeah.
Now, in Ohio, if I would have been in Ohio, the smell of marijuana is not probable cause.
Yeah. As it should
Indiana,
be.
it is.
Indiana is,
So-
we're searching your tires.
Yeah,
Like,
fucking
it's, yeah.
bullshit. Yeah.
We're stripping it, pay for the repairs, bitch.
Yep. So that's how Indiana handles it
Yeah.
in the biggest way possible.
It's weird because it's really just a game of gotcha. It's because
Yeah,
you're
and
given
the
more
funny
money
thing is-
for more things like that you pull off.
Yeah, exactly. And they say it's for your own good. They're helping you,
Well, but the same thing
Who
with
are they
tickets, though.
helping?
Yeah, exactly.
Who are they actually helping? What was I doing with marijuana that was so disturbing to other people?
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
And as I've described it, it's like nicotine in a way. It's way more like that than alcohol. A hard and fast breathalyzer is just a way to extort people and fuck them over, get them involved in the legal system. Because if you've got an off-the-rails nicotine buzz, you shouldn't be fucking driving, An unsafe driver should be
Absolutely.
pulled over. Same thing with someone that can't handle their weed. But if
Exactly.
you happen to smell like weed when you're driving, and there was something like a tail light or something out, but you're driving absolutely fucking fine, you should be left alone. You're
Yeah,
not causing
absolutely.
any harm to the public whatsoever, And if officers can have the discretion to determine who's a safe or unsafe driver with sober people, you can do that with stoned people as well.
Absolutely.
It doesn't have to be some blind thing. Because with alcohol, that actually impairs your motor skills.
Yeah.
And with weed, it's mostly just in your head.
Exactly.
Edibles are a different thing. But even then, if you got a high tolerance, you're good.
Exactly.
Yeah. Fuck. In other words, I love the taste of boot. I love the world. America's number one.
American number one!
So today I was smacking the period pussy of a bitch with uncupped titties, and parked behind me at this hotel was literally a fucking truck painted as the American flag. There was a skull hood ornament painted with the American flag. There were monster stickers on the back windshield and 5 American flags in the bed. I'm going to show you a picture later, but the picture's going to be on screen. It was a thing. And I can rip on unjust things about the country, but legitimately, I do fucking love this place. And I like the fact that it's not a military dictatorship like China.
I might have spoken a little too soon on that one.
You know, just like looking at a car that's got something fucked up with it. You don't always just want to scrap the car. You don't want to tear it apart.
Yep.
You know, you love the thing, and hey, a little tune-up, you know. You don't want to rebuild everything because maybe you'll see something wrong and fuck up the whole system, but little fixes don't hurt, you know.
Let's start with Congress.
To quote Ron Paul, Congress is a good thing to reform, but when I say redo the tax code, I don't mean fiddle with it. I mean abolish the IRS and replace it with nothing.
Ron Paul!
Yeah. Dude, and the trippy thing about the income tax is when that was passed in 1913, it was promised that it would only apply to the rich. And
See how
that was some trickle-down economics, though. It trickled down to everybody, right into Uranus. It was an upward trickle. Oh, fuck.
That's not the kind of trickle you want.
No. I just imagine like molten quarters like mercury just creeping up and sodomizing people, and you don't even know it.
It's more or less what it is.
Yeah, it's like the boiling frog effect. You're born into nickel in Uranus. Mom, do I have pinworms? No, that's the state, honey.
It's normal.
Exactly.
You may feel some pressure.
Just lean back and think of England. Dude, there was a fucking intermediate school band teacher that, there were rumors going around that he was looking at porn on his computer. And there was a kid that said this to me before I got called into his office. He's like, oh, you're going in there. Just lean back and think of England. Fuck. And he was one of those people that were just kind of bug-eyed in the way that pedophiles are. I'm not saying everyone that looks like a pedophile is a pedophile, but all pedophiles look like pedophiles.
Fucking true. God damn.
Yeah, it's... Man, looking at you. You know, they say 1 in 3 people are gay and fuck children. It ain't me. I don't think it's you.
No.
That's gonna be a good edit. Just fucking hold it for too long.
Pause it for like 10 minutes.
Did you hear that people are getting triggered at good old George Miller, Joji, for having the pink guy history?
Yep.
Yeah.
How could they hate him? It was a wonderful time.
Exactly.
It was beautiful.
One of his most fucked up songs ever that includes racial slurs begins with the line, I'm from the South and I'm really fucking stupid. I can't read, I can't write. I've got a cleft lip and a lazy eye. I'm Aryan race, eyes blue as the sky. You can't be angry at anything after that.
Yeah,
it's clear that you're joking.
Yeah.
You know?
Serious.
If you're killing comedians, it's like killing jesters in the Middle Ages, you know? They got to be able to push the line just a little bit, even if you don't believe in it.
That's what comedy's about.
Exactly.
It really is.
And I've laughed at shit that annoyed me. Just what they believe about reality runs so parallel, against me that it's annoying, but at the same time, funny shit's funny shit.
Yeah.
And it's not hurting you. You know? When are we making that meme rap project?
Motherfucker. What's up, nigga? Gangsta rap, nigga. I'm
100% nigga. They hate us because our dicks is bigger.
I forgot that existed.
Well, you can't forget. Never forget.
I'll never forget.
Oh, fuck. Do you have any near-death experiences?
The closest I've gotten was, there's one I couldn't classify as it, but I was tripping balls.
You thought you were gonna die. Close enough.
I easily thought that, I could have. The other one, was my car accident, which I walked away from that, but
What happened?
Well, I was in my Pontiac, coming out of Cincinnati, going around the 74 west entrance.
Yeah.
Going around that bend, 3 o'clock in the morning. It was March, and it was just cold enough
for ice you don't expect. Yeah.
Dude, go around that bend. Not fast. I was going, pretty conservatively.
Yeah.
But black ice.
Did you lose your ass end?
Yep.
Oh, dude, that's terrifying.
Straight into a concrete wall at about
God
65, 70.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, it almost rolled. It came close.
God. Well, and was it like a sedan kind of car?
Coupe.
Oh fuck.
Coupe. Hot rod.
Man. Yeah.
Ultimately, the thing just had, I was just, riding the gas like you normally would on the highway. And it's got so much power that, you hit that black ice, it just spins.
Exactly.
It spun
And then
immediately.
it doesn't have the traction once it gets on regular asphalt again.
Yep.
Fuck.
And I actually never regained traction. It just went sideways, and I slid right into the wall.
The wall softened your crash.
Yeah.
The soft concrete saved the day.
Which, I took a pretty good hit to the head, but
Oh, did you bounce off the dashboard or?
bounced off my window.
Oh, yeah. Fuck.
But yeah, I did not enjoy that. The other one was, I was 5 tabs at once deep.
Okay.
So,
5 stamps.
we...
It's a good morning.
Yeah. I forget what time it was. I think we started in the evening on some weekend. I can't remember. It was probably like 6, 7 maybe. I don't know. But, it was probably an hour and a half in or so. 5 tabs. It's hitting hard at this point.
Oh, yeah. That first fucking hill.
Yeah. You know how you salivate a lot more.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that shit really upset my stomach.
Oh,
And
fuck.
I started, I had, throw up and shit. Which, that was the first time that ever happened to me on acid. So,
Yeah.
I didn't freak out, but, I made it to the bathroom and, basically just choked for what felt like an eternity.
Was I there for that?
No. This was that,
Fun.
no, that was that first trip.
Well, I was going to say, there was a time, we were tripping and you were smoking weed too, and there was this thing that happened where you said it felt like your lungs were filling up with fluid or something.
Well, it felt like I got something stuck in my throat.
Yeah.
After smoking.
Dude,
and,
that freaked me the fuck out because there was nothing me and could do.
yeah.
Like,
Well, it finally, got to the point where it was making me nauseous. So, I was actually, I didn't throw up, but, I actually coughed that up and was able to get that out.
it was a good day, you cleared out your lungs. It wouldn't have happened without the acid.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like smoking cigars. This black chunk shouldn't be there anyway. I'm glad I coughed them up.
Exactly. That means they're out. It's fine.
Better out than in,
I'm
I always
healthier than
say.
I've ever been. That was just kind of scary. That's...
But 5 tabs puking. Was there more on that, lad?
Oh, dude, after I was done, I was having some pretty vivid visuals. Shit was just... Again, I can't really describe it, but everything just had this,
The walls were breathing at you.
everything.
Sounds had taste.
Yeah.
You heard the
It
shape of
really
colors.
kind of gave the trip, a new edge. It felt like it. I don't know how to put it. It just felt... It felt really weird, but it was really cool.
Yeah.
Once I was done, I was fine. Great trip.
Yeah.
I'd do it again.
How are your trains of thought when you're tripping that hard? Because I've probably only gone 2 tabs deep, probably 400 micrograms, something like that. I don't go fucking hard with acid just because that's 12 hours I'm dedicating to that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a reason I haven't touched it.
Longer than the statute of limitations. This is the beginning of the video. Everything you were about to see is outside the statute of limitations. All the bleeps are creative license. But, that's the thing shrooms have over acid. Just because you'll see God's ball sack in 4 hours' time, packs up their fucking elfy ass fucking briefcases and they leave. You know?
I have done shrooms a couple times. We'll get to that in a minute if you want. But I did 5 tabs all at once quite a few times.
Oh, fuck. That wasn't the only one?
No. Dude. No, it wasn't. Actually, the first time I did 5 at once, we were in an apartment, and dude, I took all 5, and we're talking like a half hour. This shit's kicking in.
Yeah.
And I noticed that. And I was like...
At a half hour?
Yeah, I was like, oh, shit. I was like, no.
Dude, and it's like seeing a tsunami coming in the distance, but it's psychic.
Yeah.
Like, it's,
Dude, it's
psychic
like,
waves are going to kill
there's
you.
nothing you can do.
You just fucking tie yourself to the mast and pray.
I remember also, this is probably only, 15 minutes later.
Yeah.
Comes over.
Yeah.
And he didn't trip with us that day because he had to work. But he knew that me and would work. And he stopped by to see how we were doing. And me and him, I forget how much he took, but he took a little more than he normally did. So he was, and again, good shit.
Yeah, exactly.
So he was really feeling it. But I think I was definitely.
You were still leagues ahead.
On a couple levels way higher. But,
he was 5,000 leagues under the sea. You were 20,000.
yeah. And descending.
Mariana's Trench ain't got dick.
But, yeah. Showed up and, I'm jittery, fucking nervous wreck. Not like freaking out, but like to the point where I can't really get comfortable anywhere. I can't just sit down.
And was this before the peak hit?
Oh, way before. This was before an hour hit.
Oh, dude.
And
yeah, that's scary because you don't know how hard that's going to hit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He comes in, he's noticed and we're tripping pretty hard. And of course he's like, when did you guys put him in? And we're like, about 45 minutes ago. He's like, are you guys serious? Like, you guys are already tripping this hard.
Yeah.
And he said that, and that freaked me out. I was like, oh no.
It's like a parent freaking out when you scrape your knee.
Like, shoot.
Yeah, their panic increases yours.
I got about 2 hours in. We watched Rick and Morty. We watched, I think we started with the season finale of season 1.
3? Oh, 1?
Season 1.
Yeah.
Go into 2, they go into, the season 2 premiere and they split time.
Yeah.
Dude, that shit was insane. So, basically we started watching Rick and Morty, kept me on fucking ribs.
Oh, yeah.
Watching stuff that I'm familiar with, well, I haven't seen that particular episode. I had seen Rick and Morty before, so I was down with that shit.
Well, it's something for your point of focus, so it doesn't, blur
and
go
also
all over
something
the
that
place.
I was familiar with and I knew what I was watching. I knew I was watching something hilarious.
Yeah, it's not some, random mindfuck video.
Yeah, exactly. But, no, that turned into a really good trip. It was really nerve-wracking at first, but it was intense.
Yeah.
But it was fun.
Well, tripping that hard, do you ever have moments where you swear you're, getting little glimpses of parallel timelines or shit like that? Because, that's the only way I can describe, some of my experiences. Because it's like...
Can you give me an example?
So, it's like a situation where your buddy, he's about to come around this corner and sit down on the couch. But in a parallel vision, he fucks up a little bit. He stumbles a little bit, eats shit in front of you. It's not like something macabre where people are dying in the most ridiculous ways, but it's just a parallel possibility that just didn't wind up occurring. It didn't present the formality of actually occurring. That kind of thing.
I feel like I've vaguely seen that. I couldn't.
That might not be everybody too. And that's the weird thing about psychedelics. They're not studied really anymore, and you don't know what happens for everybody.
Exactly.
Acid, shrooms, and DMT should be a mandatory sacrament. Wine is a watery insult to the word sacrament.
Damn right it is.
God can confirm.
You drink this water.
Joke's on you, that was liquid acid.
You're about to be tripping balls.
You left your seat without your body before?
Oh, so
Yeah.
another time that we tripped pretty hard on acid. Again, I did 5. So
That's the magic number.
it's the magic number, it really is. But had never seen Airplane. Oh,
God bless Leslie Nielsen.
God. Dude, funniest time I've ever seen that movie. I've seen the movie since I was a kid.
Oh, yeah.
That was the best time I've seen it ever. We got to the part where the boy's walking around and he's asking people if they want, coffee, cream, sugar, and shit. And he comes up to the one girl and he's like, cream or coffee? And she's like, yeah, I'll take some. And he's like, cream and sugar? And he's like, or she's like, no, I like my coffee black. Like my men. Mind you, this is like a 10-year-old girl. So, dude, we hit that scene, and everyone fucking died. We watched that over and over for like 10 minutes, just lose our shit. Yeah. It was so fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And then another time, another 5-tab fucking trip.
Yeah.
Blazing Saddles.
Where are the white women at? Like,
Now, that was the first time I had seen Blazing
I've had that
Saddles.
kick me tripping. Oh, first time tripping.
Dude.
God.
Okay, I take that back. I had seen a couple scenes that my dad would show me when we were kids, like the fart scene, because that wasn't a horribly...
It was something you could show a kid and not feel bad.
Exactly, it wasn't horribly inappropriate.
Yeah.
Like most of the movies.
Exactly.
But goddamn, that was the funniest shit. I mean, we basically just had like, a Mel Brooks marathon.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Dude, I was going to
whenever
say fucking Robin Hood Men in Tights, fucking Spaceball. Any of his
Classic.
movies fucked up are a great time, even
Oh,
if you're
yeah.
just a few beers deep.
And actually, another time, another 5-tab trip, we watched Spaceballs, and that was my first time watching Spaceballs, tripping balls, and of course, fucking losing our shit, the greatest shit we've ever seen.
Yeah.
And then after that, George was there. He brought this movie called Evil Bong. It had Tommy Chong in it, which he didn't appear for like a fucking hour, hour and a half maybe. Dude, this was the worst movie I've ever seen. I swear. It was terrible. It was absolutely fucking horrible. It was killing my trip. But Tommy Chong was the saving grace. I have to give him that. I mean, but like...
Did it launch it into decency, or did it just save the day?
No, it was basically Tommy Chong was the only good part of the whole movie.
Oh, gross.
Yeah. It was so dumb. So basically, they got this fucking bong, and every time you rip it, basically you get trapped in an alternate dimension in this strip club where these strippers have like fucking like I want to say like well carnivorous animals as like
That's titties.
as titties. And basically, they'd be like, they'd get there, they'd be like, oh, dude, this is fucking awesome. And then they'd get up on the strippers, and the strippers would eat them with their tits. So, yeah, it was pretty bad. Pretty fucking bad.
Sounds entertaining. I mean,
It was entertaining, but
Yeah.
my cousin was not into it.
he was not having it.
And I was, like, not super into it either. And I was like, can we watch something else? And
Yeah.
they were like, no, we gotta finish this. And I was like, why? Can we not?
Yeah.
Please. But, we made it through somehow.
Yeah,
But
there's some
I
movies I'm
think
glad I
that was
haven't
a good
seen.
waste of time for an acid trip. Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's better than something that just spins it the fuck out.
Yeah.
Because those waters just aren't fun, no matter what.
No doubt. I have done shrooms. I've only done it like 2 or 3 times.
And 5 grams is the magic number there, too. It's that 5. You can't escape it.
What I had must have been not great. 'Cause
Well, that's okay.
I think I took like...
Did you eat it on like a full stomach or something like that?
No, it wasn't. Not full, but not like completely empty.
Yeah.
But I ate over like a quarter. And it still didn't really do shit.
Yeah.
I could feel it. Like, we had a good time and everything.
Yeah.
It kind of upset my stomach a little bit.
Yeah. And believe it or not, putting it in, like grinding it up and putting it in little capsules, that makes it easier to stomach.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
it fucks my stomach up too. Yeah, you gotta like puke. Sometimes you get the shits. Yeah.
Yeah, what we did was, at least for that time, I put it in ice cream.
Huh.
Yeah. It was really fucking, like, dry, shaky.
Yeah.
So, I was like, I can't do this. So
And
I
sometimes,
just dumped it in
like-
that shit, mixed it up, and just downed the whole fucking thing.
Yeah. Sometimes like mixing it into like a paste with orange juice, like the acids in it break it down a little bit. It's a
Okay,
little
yeah.
easier to make it go down. Like just slam it like a slushy, that kind of
Right.
thing. But the flavor just still fucks me up. I don't fuck with mushrooms.
Yeah, I hate mushrooms, really.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it was cool. I got very minimal visuals. I mean, it was more or less just kind of,
Did you get like neon outlines on things?
not really outlines, just kind of like, it kind of just like, kind of changed, like,
Color palettes were shifting. That maybe?
kind of sort of, it kind of just changed, like, the light ambiance of the room.
Yeah.
Like, it was kind of weird, but,
Yeah.
I mean, it really, I think I felt like not like lightheadedness, but like, you know, you kind of get that, like, I don't want to say, like, I don't know what the...
Well, I'm tripping like just sway to your reality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good time, but it's not been as intense as I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
It is what they proclaim it, to be.
Yeah.
You know, I just haven't hit that.
And the weird thing is it's kind of like ayahuasca in a way, because when your body processes it, it functions a little more like orally active DMT, like just like in effects and shit. And did you ever take it alone? Like, I'm assuming you haven't tripped alone on shrooms?
No.
Okay. Like, and apparently that's the way to do it. I haven't had like a breakthrough trip alone, but I've had like a comfy like 2 gram, like that kind of experience, like everything's got like purple neon outlines, there's like a waviness, kind of like acid, but no fans creeping across the walls.
Right, yeah, right.
Yeah. But supposedly the magic dose is 5 dry grams on an empty stomach, and if you're laying there in silent darkness, the same entities that you can see on DMT, you're just talking to. It's like the talking to God or the spirit of the mushroom kind of thing. And I want to fuck with that. Like, because, like, I've taken psychedelics and shit, but I've never really done it to party. Like, and I'm kind of jealous of people that can do it, because it just, I don't know, I just don't want to be that fucked up.
Yeah.
Because I just don't trust what situations might arise, Just extra paranoid caution, I guess.
I've had...
And I'm not knocking you because you pulled it off. You're still alive.
I mean, we always trip with, not always like the same group, but it was always the same people.
Yeah. Well, people where you know what to expect. There's not
Exactly.
someone that's just going to start acting funny.
Actually, this is
Funny time.
kind of, but this one he kind of brought on himself, and we warned him about this. This was, he took a hefty amount of acid.
How many times?
I think it was like 4 or 5.
Man. Had he taken it before?
Oh yeah, taken it before.
So, like, still, like, smaller doses, like 1, 2. Something like that, right? 1, 2 tabs?
I'm not sure. I think he did like half and half.
Okay.
So it wasn't all at once. But
he wanted to get his balls wet, and just jump in.
yeah. Yeah, he fucking dived in. if you're taking 5 tabs of acid and
You will not
any
survive.
combination, that's a full-on dive.
Yeah.
But no, he took it this time. None of us were tripping. It was just him. He was just gonna, chill with us and trip balls. Well, I told him, turn it off. Don't talk to anyone.
Yeah.
He had this feature on his phone where if you're on a text screen, you put it up to your ear. You'll call him. Well, he was on the text screen with his girlfriend. He lied to this girl a lot.
Yeah.
And this is more or less the straw that broke the camel's back, because he accidentally called her. And then immediately was like, oh shit, I fucked up. I have to call her back and explain, like, why.
What she just heard.
Yeah. Well,
Sounds like men sucking and fucking.
Well, he called her, noticed he was calling her, hung up. And then he was like, oh shit, now I'm gonna have to explain that. So
Did he tell her he was doing something different? Like, I don't...
No, I mean, he was just trying to figure out, like, a lie, to, which he learned his lesson. He did.
Yeah. Don't lie. Life's easier.
No,
Let's remember.
We were outside, and, oh, by the way, they were engaged at this point.
Oh, fuck.
And, we were outside, and he was talking to her, and he's like, here, talk to her. And I was like, he's fine, he's a little hammered with me, like, it's like, and she was like, okay. And yeah, that was good anymore.
No, I mean, at least she didn't kill him. No keyed cars.
Yeah.
Still a net positive.
Well, I mean, she was kinda, like, well, she didn't want him smoking weed and shit like that, he wanted to be his own dude.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Straight up. And
some people just don't jive.
True. It seems like they got along well, but she didn't like me because, I was always the one fucking, cheaping down with him.
Jazz cabbage addict.
Doing stupid shit with him. And then, he didn't like that, she was trying to tell him what to do.
Yeah.
And she's got to have some understanding from that side.
Yeah.
But, like, it was weird. Like, and the same thing with,
Did she ever drink?
She would drink. I mean, she wasn't like,
Not like a party up drinker, but still. Yeah.
But,
in my experience, the people that have a problem with somebody smoking weed either have one person that ruined their life with it because they're a do-nothing anyway, or they just don't know anything about it.
Yep.
This is gross.
Or have been totally miseducated on the entire subject.
Yeah. Well, I consider being misinformed even worse than not knowing anything.
Yeah, I would agree
if you
with that.
think you know something, it's hard to convince somebody otherwise.
Exactly.
Like if somebody knew nothing, it'd be a little easier to teach them that the earth is round.
No, if they knew nothing, they knew nothing.
Yeah, some Greek cunt said, I know that I know nothing. That's the place to be. No, you're clueless. You get it. You're on the path, says man to a garage, to ancient some fucking philosopher. I'll talk down to you a little less.
Oh, so I did have a small run-in with DMT.
Yeah.
Well, managed to get a hold of some.
Yeah.
And, well, me and him were at the house, we were going to do it, and, he started, taking his, and, it was like, I guess basically, you do a scoop and you just keep putting it in until you're there.
Yeah.
So
it's easier to have someone else do it for you.
Yeah, well, he did it himself, which we didn't know that. That was the first time either of us had touched it. Which he started rolling his. I think he got through like one whole rip, started the second, and then couldn't finish it. And he was like, "Here, clear this." Stupidly, I did.
It tastes like mothballs.
It was awful, and it was only I only cleared like what was left in the bong. There was nothing else.
Vision go fractal, everything yellow.
Nothing changed color really, but it really made me
uncomfortable.
Really uncomfortable.
Did it feel like your head was filled with poison? I only ask because I've had that experience.
I don't know if I would call it that. It was like kind of how you kind of get lightheaded, like when you like you're dehydrated or something.
Yeah.
It's something similar to that.
Did it feel like you were going anywhere, or was it just like a disorienting thing?
It didn't. It was definitely more disorienting than like actually like moving.
Yeah. Did you take any more hits after clearing the chamber?
No. I
Okay. Yeah.
I was like, I'm good for a little while. Like, we'll revisit this someday. And I haven't yet. which I want to try it again. I want to do what I'm supposed to do and actually have a breakthrough.
Yeah. The first time I fucked with it was, I got a text from a buddy. He's like, hey, come over. I got some DMT. And I'm like, I'm on my way to my big titty goth GF's house. Sure. I'll just tell her I'll be there half an hour late. I've got time. Go hyperdimensional for 10 minutes. You good. And you know, like, so basically you have to freebase it. That's the way it functions, you know. And he had like a one-header with a little bit in there. And I was taking some. And I copped out too early. I should have kept going. And he told me that, but I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to sit this way for now, you know. And I was there, and there was this weird feeling, like, you know how you feel your body and shit, you know? Like everything felt like all of my perception was being condensed down to like the size of a marble in the middle of my skull. And it felt like it was like being pulled towards, you know that little crown, that little circular spot, like right there? It felt like it was being pulled towards there. And it, like shit started closing in a little bit. And then as soon as that marble of perception or what the fuck ever hit that, it just like rubber banded back, and it's like everything did like that kind of like shockwave kind of thing. And everything just had like, you know, like the afterglow on an acid trip, how everything sometimes has like a goldish hue, like a nostalgic memory, like that kind of thing. Yeah. Everything had that, and there was slight like, instead of some things being pixelated, like when they were further away, it was like, instead of blur, there was like a fractal effect happening. You know, it was like seeing an underlying fabric of reality kind of thing. It just felt fucking weird. Yeah, but I didn't break through that time, and I went and saw some titties.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's a good day.
Yeah. And that was the day I found the fucking governor on the Impala. Gas cuts out at 120. And fuck. And the second time I tried to smoke it, I was going to break through that time. I had it like in my fucking head, you know, and like, so that first time when my perception was being like lifted back towards the back of my skull, it felt like there was this weird feeling of being watched. You know, it's like there was an audience in a way. There wasn't cheering or anything, but it just, that little mental cue was getting fired up, you know. And so the second time I go to smoke it, this time I was using Vlad, a 3-foot green bong. And God bless Limey. Yeah, Vladimir Putin. Shout out. But so the way you can smoke it out of a bong is you put a little bud on top and a layer of ash, and there's the DMT, and then there's another like caked layer of ash. So the boiled DMT, because it flashes from a solid to a liquid, you know, that's down at the bottom, and then you inhale that vapor, you know, and the embers of the weed on top is actually what causes that effect. You don't want to actually torch it, all right? So I loaded up as much DMT, like more than I thought would fuck me up, you know, and I go to fucking take this rip, and again, it's a fucking 3-foot chamber, you know, and I pull the slide out, and I'm like, here we go again. Like, there's just this feeling of, this is when he knew he had fucked up. And like, just clear the hit. I hold it for as long as I fucking can. Like, I luck out because it's not super harsh on me. But like, the taste of mothballs just throws me off every time. Like, there's this weird nostalgia.
Yeah, I do not like that.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't bug me, but everybody's fucking different. But so, like, at that instant, it felt like an elevator. That marble of perception was like, it's like on a slide ruler, like on an abacus. You're just moving that fucking...
Right.
And it was fucking ridiculous because, so, like, I'm sitting on the fucking ground next to my to-be ex-wife laying in bed. She's asleep. She doesn't know I smoked it. She doesn't know I have it, you know. And this was in a condemned house, too. Like, layers on layers. But, and so, like, so I set the bong down. I'm, like, sitting there bracing for impact. I probably should have laid down. But, like, when I get to that, like, fucking edge of my skull thing, it snaps back again. But there's this weird feeling of, you know, like a... figure 8, like that kind of thing. That marble was doing that kind of thing in my head. And it felt like I started to get like a migraine. And there was like, and as that elevator feeling happened, it felt like there was that audience watching me again. And like when my head started feeling like it was filled with poison, like that headache feeling, I just had this overwhelming feeling of they're disappointed. Who whoever's on the other side. But it's just, they're disappointed. And dude, I just felt like so ashamed. And like, and there was this weird feeling though, because you know when, I don't know if you played VR, but when you're playing a first-person shooter game, you know how you see your arms, and it's kind of clear that it's a distinct entity from the reality it's suspended in? You know, it felt like that kind of thing with my body. You know, it's like, and it was the first time I worded it to myself this way internally, but it just felt like Meat Vehicle VR. Like, and it was just fucking, it was really alien feeling, you know, I mean, it was just disappointing. But I didn't get cosmically spanked. I didn't have a bad trip. There was just their disappointed thing. And I've never actually broken through. Like, that was the second to last time I tried to, like, actually have a high dose go down, you know. And I'll tell the other story, high dose story sometime. That was smoking DMT out of a fucking Hello Kitty bong in a condemned house that had a dingo living in the basement. Yeah. But like after that experience, trying that, I would just I would like lace my bud with DMT because they're just weird flavors of perception that it gives you. Like even just sub-threshold doses, like the only way I can describe it is it makes you feel a little more psychic. Like, and I can't put it any other way. It's going to sound ridiculous regardless. But making my first fucking album, that's what motivated me to start making music and shit. Like, I don't like it at this point, but it was weird. It was a strange little kick in the ass. And everything was written either on acid or on a mixture of weed and DMT. Like,
the best way.
It sounds like somebody out of their mind. It makes sense. Playing music fucked up as an experience.
Yeah.
Like, I played drums stoned, but I haven't really played it tripping or anything like that.
I've done
made it like
very little, which I would like to do more. I wanted the next trip I do. Well, if it's acid, I'll probably just go by myself. I would like, I mean, to just sit down, jam some drums,
Yeah. So, well, this is related, but when you're singing and drumming, do you ever feel like the singing is like an autopilot thing you have to do, or the drumming's an autopilot thing you have to do, or are they both super conscious when you're doing it?
The only song I've only really sang and played one song.
Walk in. Was it that one? Or?
No, it was Good by Better Than Ezra. That's an easy song. I mean, that's the whole reason they gave it to me, because A, I'm not a singer.
Well, and doing them both at the same fucking time.
Yeah.
Drumming in that is weird.
Yeah, it is weird. That song is definitely one of the easier ones.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you think about that song, like the lyrics, they go with the beat of the song pretty well.
Yeah, it's really easy to track. You're not playing Rush and singing.
Well, exactly. I mean, some lyrics follow the groove of the tune. A lot of lyrics don't. When you start getting into that kind of stuff, that's where it gets hard.
Yeah, I can't do that at all.
Yeah,
I can sing, I can play drums. I can't do both at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, it's really one of those, I'm trying to think of a good example.
It's juggling chainsaws.
Yeah, exactly.
You just can't really do it. And it's so easy to fuck up in real time, too. Only it's not nearly as deadly. You only die of shame. But the point in asking that is, you know that feeling you get sometimes when you're like singing in your car and you're just kind of singing on autopilot, you're not paying attention to it?
Yeah.
So I always felt like if you're going to drum and sing, it has to be that kind of thing. And I know that in conversation, that's where I'm usually at. Like, I'm usually not thinking about what I'm about to say. I'm just saying shit. And occasionally I tie things together.
Right, yeah.
Like, right there. I don't know where I'm going. Living on the edge.
Living on the edge.
You can't help yourself What's a song you really fuck with that people wouldn't expect you to fuck with?
There's one song we played called December 1963 by Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. That's one...
That sounds like a trip.
Fresh out of the late 60s, early 70s.
Does that have like a Monkees kind of feel to it? Like, what does it...
No, it's,
Fuck describing music aesthetics.
Right?
It's something intangible. It's
Yeah.
like describing feelings on psychedelics. It's not easy.
It is, yeah. I agree with that.
Trying to pour the water of language over it don't work. Just be like, here, behold this time sculpture. There's the song. You know,
Yeah.
It's fucking strange. And it's interesting how songs change your state, too. Like, the way you feel. Because, like, I mean, if I'm hanging out singing Lamb of God, you know, I got a vibe going on.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know?
Yeah, straight up.
You know, not always putting my head through a wall. It's more of like a screaming Zen kind of. If that makes sense. Fuck. But the weird thing is, like, since I've started making music, like, the way I've played drums has kind of changed a little bit. Like, I wind up tracking patterns, like, in the melody section and the fucking, like, vocals and shit. It's really fucking
Well, I
weird.
mean, shit, if you think about, like, Neil Peart from Rush,
Yeah.
he was the lyricist.
Yeah.
He wrote a lot of his, I don't know if it was him writing the lyrics around the drum parts or writing the drum parts around the lyrics, but it was something
It was
cohesive
something like that.
that.
Like, it was my understanding that it would jam something out, have a structure, he would write a poem or, like, whatever. He would give it to Getty, and Getty would fiddle with this here and there, make it fit with the song a little more,
Right.
something he could sing, you know.
But as far as songwriting,
Yeah.
like, Neil Peart was, you know, the main guy.
Dude, in bands where the drummer is the mastermind, that's always some alien shit,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, straight up. I mean, that's why they were what they were.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And, dude, if you have a band where everyone's a musical genius in their own right, and that fucking rhythm section is still a fucking ridiculous monster,
Yeah.
it just ain't legal. Shouldn't be. It shouldn't be.
They're out.
Pull people over for Rush.
You're listening to 5-4? I don't think so, pal.
Is that 2112? Step out of the car with your hands behind your back. Are you armed, sir? With knowledge. Fuck. Yeah, there are only 3 bands I can think of that are like that. There's Rush, there's Death Grips, and, like, maybe Genesis? I only know about Phil Collins' solo shit. But I know that he was the drummer, and I know that he sung some shit for Genesis, but I don't know how much he sung.
Well, after Peter Gabriel left, I'm not sure exactly what year he left. It was probably mid-70s, I think, but
Yeah.
Phil Collins actually took over vocals.
Shit.
They brought in Chester Thompson on drums.
Oh. I
Fucking
didn't know that.
amazing player. And there's actually there's a live recording of the show Seconds Out.
Yeah.
Dude, they do a drum duet at the end. It starts in. Well, I guess it does start on the last song. Yeah. But dude, I mean.
But it moseys into it, you know, and Phil
Oh, yeah.
Collins hops onto an
Have you
unseen drum set.
heard Dance on a Volcano?
No, I haven't.
Okay, Dance on a Volcano is the song, the second to last song of that set, and then it goes into Los Angeles and goes to
Fuck yeah.
dude, Chester. Of course, you know how good Phil Collins is.
Oh, yeah.
Chester Thompson, them two together is just.
It's got to be beautiful. And I love it when 2 good drummers actually play off each other. That
Yeah.
kind of thing.
There's actually a video, I think, of that same concert of them two, you know, doing that together.
Yeah, I got to see that because the only drum duet I've seen was Godsmack. And they've got a couple slaps, but I'm
They
not
got
a big
some-
fan. You know.
I liked it. I got to see that live actually.
Yeah, I got to see
But
that at Crew Fest too.
I
and
thought
they did
that
it at
was.
Rock on the
I
Range.
thought it was really cool.
Yeah, I didn't know their fucking singer was a drummer.
Yeah, and they're both. He's good.
Yeah.
He's a good drummer.
Yeah,
Straight up.
absolutely.
And of course, Sully's good too.
Yeah, and it was all super melodic.
Sorry, Shannon. What a
Guy
great
McDude
names.
person. Yeah, human being too.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I would want to see Dave Grohl and the Foo Fighters drummer do a duet kind of thing. You know?
Yeah.
Because you can rip on the Foo Fighters, but they've just got so many fucking songs that are too good to ignore.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, even back to their old ass shit. Fucking Monkey Wrench. And like,
That's a good song,
dude,
dude.
I got to see them play that live at Sonic Temple.
Really?
And what was fucking bonkers is, like, he made fun of a guy in the audience that looked like he was some uber metalhead, like hardcore elitist. He's like, "Oh, you pissed that I'm not doing the like fucking like death growls and shit." And dude, at the end, where they're doing like one last thing before I quit. And he was doing that in death growls and shit. It was unfucking real. Yeah, it was fucking beautiful. Yeah. He's a fucking showman. Like
Absolutely.
A multifaceted drummer can take over the world.
Do you remember when he'd break his foot or his leg or something? They had that fucking throne.
Yeah, and didn't they just splint it and then moved along?
Yeah, he was like, I ain't quitting. Like, shit.
And I love performers like that because
Yes.
at the very least he's thinking, the motherfucker's paid.
Yeah.
You know?
They
Why
paid,
make this
the
inconvenient?
show must go on.
Yeah, exactly. The show must go on. At the very least, you know, maybe they got fucking babysitters and shit, you know? This is their highlight. They're looking forward to this shit. You are the spectacle.
Exactly.
Dude. Imagine that pressure.
Yeah, I find that incredibly respectable, though.
Dude, yeah.
Like, goddamn.
His ethics, being able to go along like that and being able to pull that shit off in front of a sea of people. Like, it's always got to feel surreal, but there's got to be a point where you just kind of, it's so alien that it's as easy as practicing at home. But there's a different energy because everyone's feeding you that shit back.
Yeah.
Like even in like a cover band, when people are like yelling along with you, it makes it that much more fun and enjoyable.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's a weird thing about music because you can make great music in a vacuum, but live, that's where it comes alive.
That's where the magic happens.
Yeah, it's fucking weird. And it's always fun too because I love seeing drummers that are flying by the seat of their pants. You know, people that are like, can I get away with this, Phil? And then once they pull it off, they're like, like, you didn't see anything. Yeah.
You either did or didn't see.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And if you're a polyrhythmic motherfucker, you just, if you fucked up the end, you just play funny for a second and then you dance back in.
Yeah. Just kind of, toss the offbeats around a little bit till you get it right.
Begin with prog. Just stay in time. Just keep the same tempo. It'll work.
That'll buff out.
Oh, fuck.
Like, Seal can't fix that. I love this.
Do you have a favorite song to play live on drums?
Live.
We both spent a healthy amount of time in cover band.
Oh, absolutely.
No hate. It's a good time.
There's so many good ones. Honestly, my favorite one would probably be, by request sometimes we do Sober.
Oh, by Tool?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, this is always third set. I've already had way too many drinks, to play this.
And that's why I didn't drink and play. I just couldn't. Like, it would just fuck me. God. That takes sack. I commend you.
When they're throwing their shots at the stage and they paid for it, I feel bad. A lot of times I'm like, I don't want it, but it's like, somebody paid for this so I could drink it, so.
Yeah. Sometimes I would donate it to a random person that got hyped. Other times I would pour it onto the carpet behind me.
I definitely.
First set, I'll take a shot, to like get shit lubed up. But
yeah, one shot to kind of get loosened up really actually helps.
Yeah, exactly. Because everything's always kind of weird and shaky in the beginning, unless you're just having a good day,
Yeah.
And,
Absolutely.
dude, a problem I had, like, the worst gig I've ever played in my fucking life, like the least pleasant one, was shit from the beginning. And it all began with a buddy of mine manning the radio on the pull-in to the fucking parking lot. Like, for me, like, I always have this thing where as I'm unloading and getting ready, I've got just, like, whatever playlist I'm listening to blasting, it's just like, you're just in that state just trying to think musical.
Right.
Like that kind of fucking thing. As soon as we pull in, it's like, alright, cool, we're here. And then it's like, fucking needle scratch. Bad day inbound. It's over!
You fucked it all up.
Go home. We're 50 miles from home. Walk home.
Catch a bus.
We're in Siberia.
That's what I'm doing.
Sled, bitch. Sled. Fuck. Oh. Have you ever had any gigs that just went, like, off the fucking rails? Because I've had horrible fucking technical difficulties before.
I mean, we've had our fair share of technical difficulties, but nothing that couldn't be fixed.
Yeah.
Almost on the fly, I guess you could say, but...
Yeah.
A couple times when I was with, Jukebox...
Yeah.
We had a problem with fucking people coming up and wanting to sing songs. And
that's the thing about songs that everybody loves. Everyone thinks they can sing, especially when they're drunk.
And, as I say, in a bar, like, you know, everyone thinks they can.
Yeah.
And this, well, Mike, he would always say, yeah, come on up. He didn't
Fuck it.
Well, he was lead singer, you know, he had...
Let his chops recover a little bit.
Yeah, he was like, okay, this gives me a break. Like, okay, that's all well and fine, but can they fucking sing?
And do they know the structure of the song?
Exactly.
Do they know what the words
Which,
go?
a lot of the times, no.
They know the
Not at
chords?
all. And a lot of times, it threw the whole fucking thing off.
Oh, yeah.
And we fucked up.
Did you ever have it, like, go to a grinding halt where you had to just, like, boot the dude off the stage?
No, it's come close.
So you plugged through. Yeah.
It's come close before. But, yeah, it nerve-wracking.
Oh, yeah.
I hate it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like being in the fucking coal room of a fucking train, and you're seeing gears fly off, and it's like, do we need this? What's gonna happen?
Just keep shuffling.
Exactly.
Slave. I mean, you just keep fucking going. You can't stop.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Dude, we had this. Actually, this was stupid. This guy, we were playing downtown Harrison on the street last year, which there were a lot of people there. I mean, that was a big event.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, we were really excited for that gig. It went pretty well, but this fucking idiot brought a trumpet and was like, "I want to play with the bands." This motherfucker. Dude, every time we'd start a song, he'd mosey his ass on up the fucking stage and come up there with us and start playing. I'm like, what are you doing? There was one song he sounded good on, and that was Superstition. Because it actually has a little bit of a horn section on it.
It fit.
But everything else, no. And he was not invited.
Yeah, he just kind of showed up.
That pissed me off.
Yeah. It's like the douchebag with a guitar at a party.
Exactly. Oh, another good band story. I was with Jukebox at this time.
Yeah.
And we played this bar down in Erlanger, kind of a rougher place. Dixie Station.
Never been there.
It's alright.
Dixie chicks hang out there, like
Maybe they're, you know,
fat, ugly cousins.
Kentucky cousins.
Cleft lip. 3 lazy eyes.
So we had this fucking drunk dude, and yeah, we were, well, hey, this dude would keep trying to come up on stage. You know, never stopped the entire night.
Yeah.
And I was sitting, you know, just chilling with bandmates and everything, and he comes up and talks to me, and he starts talking. Dude's fucking gone. He's gone, dude. So fucking gone. And he starts talking to me, and I mean, it was some unintelligible bullshit, which I just, like, I was like, yep, yep, you know, this. And, he started saying, like, he's like, something about fighting me, or some stupid shit. He's like, dude, I could take you, and I'm like,
congrats.
yeah, okay, cool. And then he put his arm around me, and I was like, don't you fucking dare.
Yeah.
I threw him off me, and then his buddy stepped in.
Yeah.
And was like, yeah, I'm sorry about
Sorry,
that.
he's a drunk cunt.
And
Yeah.
after that, it just got worse.
Him?
So, yeah, that guy. We went back up on stage. Dude was literally, like, coming on stage with us.
Yeah.
Well, some crackhead, which I actually talked to that guy, too. He looked like, yeah, a methead.
Yeah.
But he was a really nice guy.
Yeah.
I'll give him that.
Yeah.
But
Just really wide eyes.
yeah, but he was having a good time. He wasn't causing any problems, that guy. And, well, you know, the really fucking hammered guy got belligerent, and this crackhead fucking grabbed him and took him down. Oh, dude, it was
Judo throw.
awesome. cops showed up and everything, and of course they kicked the guy out.
Yeah.
The guy that took
The
him
belligerent
out.
guy. Oh.
Yeah, the belligerent guy got kicked out. The cool crackhead dude got sick. Yeah, I was
The
chill
local
with it.
vigilante hero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he was like, I was like, alright, you cool, man.
Support your local meth heads. Sometimes you need that fucking monkey strength.
Goddamn blue collar tweakers.
Yeah, we're running this here town. Dude, I got to see them open for Metallica. Fucking Primus. Dude, yeah. That was the only time I've seen Metallica, but that was unfucking real. That was the second time I got to see Primus. And apparently Les Claypool got sold weed by Kirk Hammett in high school.
No
he
fucking way.
told that story to the fucking massive crowd.
Oh, dude, that's a story
Kirk's
right
probably in
there.
the back, like, meditating, like, why'd you have to do that, man?
Yeah, for real. Jesus Christ.
But
That's amazing.
On the topic of fucked gig stories, I don't remember the name of the place, and it's for the better. But, like, okay, there was this mixed waitress with a huge rack that was coming on to me. Don't be in a band and be in a relationship. It ruins everything.
Doesn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, I could have been sucking some titties. But, so, the guy that ran this place, he might have had a powdered donut problem. he was a very big fan.
Oh, so you tell me he was a cop?
Yeah, exactly. Yes. And he always, just painted, some chalk under his nose, Hitler mustache style. And he was always slightly drunk and slightly just like a little just jittery, And he, like every time we played there, he got a stiffy for my drumming. And we're about to play Simple Man by fucking Leonard Skinner, and we're up there. He's like, I know this one. He comes up on stage, poorly sings the whole fucking thing, fucked up as shit, staring into my fucking eyes. So there's a drunk man, it's simple, like a grown man, like thinking he can leech my essence, coming his pants, not breaking eye contact.
Oh my god, that's terrifying.
It was so uncomfortable. Like, I've never been violated, but then I was.
Yeah.
It was fucking gross.
Man. That's the
Yeah.
worst.
You ever been penetrated with eyeballs? It's a unique feeling. Yeah.
Oh, that gives me chills, man.
I almost know what it feels like to have a vagina now. Oh, it's just gross. God.
God damn, that's... I've definitely had some weird eye contact moments with some fans.
Mostly middle-aged white women.
Always fucking cougars, man.
Dude,
always
it's
cougars.
fascinating. Dude, I went to a show of yours where we were opening for Push, and something like that, or maybe a Metallica tribute band. And I came
Yeah,
over,
that's what it was.
and there was some middle-aged bitch just right there, like I was like hanging out, like half-heartedly singing along and shit, and just like got a little bit closer and closer, like expecting me to say something to her. No. But pro tip: don't be faithful. Don't be a good human being like me. Bad call. You ain't getting laid. The marriage certificate is a license to refuse blowjobs. Your worth need not be proven. There's a contractual obligation. Do you have any gnarly bitches coming at you stories? 'Cause I don't have too many.
Okay, this one, she didn't really, like, come at me, per se, but, okay, I played Free Lounge, and,
I love that place.
dude, I love Free Lounge. Yeah, we had a good time
I think they're closed now. Like even before Corona shit. Yeah. Half of me wanted to break in and fucking steal my cymbal back.
Right? Yeah, every time I played there, I was like, that's not good.
That retard monkey strength fucking cymbal cracker.
I can't say anything. I've broken.
It happens when you're enjoying yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But anyway,
Yeah.
I was, playing there, and this one, middle-aged white woman with the fucking Karen haircut, straight up, blonde.
Yeah.
And, she definitely had a couple drinks. Not like, I wouldn't say she was like, insane or anything, but she was like, oh my god, you guys are so good. I mean, she was like, can I give you a hug? I'm like, alright, fine. And,
A little too much of a titty press.
look, dude, she a fucking knocker straight up, but I wasn't, like, opposing that.
Sometimes brown bags are the way to go.
Sometimes.
I have COVID, ma'am. You haven't heard of it yet, but face the wall.
Now, this is where this gets weird.
Oh, God.
So, we played a couple Swingers Club shows. The second one I played, she was there. And I thought I recognized her. Of course, Swingers Club show, you know, it's pretty much, you know, anything's fair game. You can run around fucking naked.
It's Lex. Yeah.
I mean, she was, you know, definitely had an outfit suited to the event, I'll say.
She was prepared.
But, of course, there I was extremely out of place, and I just hung out in either our green room or by the stage or by my buddies. I was like, okay, I'm not going to venture too far out here.
Yeah.
And she comes up to me. I was standing in front of the stage. I immediately knew who she was. I was like, oh my god. How?
Oh my god, it's you.
Well, she came up to me. Of course, my hair was a little different. She was like, were you in a band called Jukebox Heroes?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I was. And she's like, oh my god, I knew it was you. And I was like, oh my god. And I mean, it didn't get, like, any weirder beyond that. It was pretty weird.
And then she grabbed you by the pussy.
Like, yeah. Yeah.
Dude. Yeah. It's weird because, you know, I'm sure drunk guys are a little more feely than they should be, but drunk chicks aren't called out on. And they're a little more comfy with just violating any and all their comfort.
They can just do that.
Yeah.
Like, like those same laws don't apply to them.
Well, and even if you went to somebody about it, it's like, big man get his dick touched.
Yeah.
Is she ugly? Who are you? Boo-hoo. You know, like, it's one of those fucking things.
But it's not always that situation.
I mean, you can always deck them. Like, there ain't physical threat unless you got babushka bitches trying to grab your balls.
I'm married. She's trying to corrupt me.
With the might of God be gone. Fuck.
The power of Christ compels you.
3 nails did not penetrate my Savior for your whole ass.
I'm a good Christian boy.
Yeah. Fuck. Did you ever open for Push?
No, I've never opened for them.
Do you know what they were? They were a Dio tribute band. Did you hear anything about them?
No, I don't think I've even heard of them.
Okay, so I've been thinking about interviewing their singer. Okay, it'll be interesting to try to line that up because the man's in jail.
Awesome.
Exactly. It turns out that the fucking front man for a Dio tribute band was a pedophile priest moonlighting as a rock singer. It sounds like something in a movie. It doesn't even sound fucking real.
There's going to be a documentary someday.
Let's make it happen. But dude, it was fucked up because apparently he got his license for priestdom or whatever the fuck. He was made a lord online for $50. He basically bought a license. And he would invite little girls over and whatnot. And he just, a little diddly, And always, like at gigs and shit, I thought he was just a cool guy with shades. I thought he was just too cool for school, that kind of thing, because he always has shades on. I saw, like, at the head of this article that I could not fucking believe because, hey, I opened for that guy.
Yeah.
It's like that fucking pedophile priest headline. And I'm like, okay, so I know the news will doctor photos sometimes, but what the fuck? The dude had one eye looking straight forward at the camera, and the other one was out to fucking lunch. The other one was gone fishing. And dude, like, I'm like, okay, of course he's a pedo, but at least give people an idea of what he looks like. I'm like, what the fuck? I go to look for his mugshot, and the fuck's got a lazy eye. That's the reason why he had the fucking sunglasses on all the time. Exactly. He had Dio's voice, but he had autistic eyes.
It happens to the best.
You can't have it all. Fuck.
Jesus.
Yeah. We opened for those dudes twice, and then just out of the blue, they just went off the radar. Like, and I didn't know why, but a few months later on Facebook, I saw that shit. I saw that article, and I'm like, not in my Christian neighborhood, but like, and yeah, it was just so random. You know,
Yeah.
it's something you didn't fucking expect. You know?
Yeah, that's fucky.
Yeah, exactly.
Fucky, just like his eyes.
Exactly. The eyes are the window into the soul, and they too were a little bit off. Dude, I think that's the only person I've ever ran into like that. Like, I don't know if I've ran into murderers. They haven't told me about the past or anything. But, like, he's the only, like, this man should do some time kind of person that I've ran into.
Yeah.
To make it seem like a point is there. If you're smoking weed, you don't deserve to be one of those people. Wow.
Exactly.
Fucking, that happened.
Fucking knee slapper.
Intentional. Fucking tying things up. Coming to conclusions here.
Beautiful.
Well, are there any more fucked up stories you could think to tell? Like, just anything off the top of your head? So I've had shit for the past half hour. I'm down to call it here if you want. I don't give a fuck.
I'm down. Shoot, we can do, if you need more info, you know where to come.
It's just entertaining bullshitting with
yeah.
it, you know?
Anytime you want to do this, man. I'm down.
The fuck are you doing here? Okay, I guess this is a plug. Yeah, on Instagram and everything as Shake the Five Dusts, Spotify Shake the Five Dusts, Punchline.